Hi guys, this week we are still learning about pattern and we're also going to learn about a special artist. She is known for using polka dots or dots on all different kinds of designs. Her name is Kusama and she is from Japan and she's actually still alive. When you go to my website, which I guess you already are if you're watching this video, but I'll show you pictures of her and pictures of her different kind of art. And since it is the end of October, we are going to make a pumpkin in a Kusama design. And it's a lot of fun, pretty easy. So you'll need some paper, a Sharpie, a pencil, an eraser, and crayons and markers. Basically your usual supplies, okay? So get your stuff together and let's get to work. Okay, so first, right about the middle of the page, I'm going to make the stem, and I'm going to make kind of a squished oval, okay? And then on each side, I'm going to make the lines from the stem coming in, and notice how they're just slightly curved. And then underneath it, I'm going to draw what's kind of like a pear shape. And it doesn't have to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. Your mind looks a little funny, and that's okay. Then I'm going to make a similar shape on this side, but it's going to be kind of hiding behind this one. And so I'm going to kind of come up right there by the stem, down, out, and in. And mine went off the paper a little bit, and that's okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, going up towards the stem, up, in, out, and back up. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing again on each side, but you're going to see a little bit less of it. It's hiding a little more. All right, and then just a teensy tiny bit back here that you really can't see much of. And so there is the shape of my pumpkin, and it's a very non-traditional pumpkin, meaning it's not what you would expect, and that's okay. And then I'm going to make kind of like there's a wavy hill off in the distance, so I'm going to kind of come up and down, and I stop at the pumpkin, kind of use my imagination and pretend I'm still drawing, and then go over there. So I've got the background, I've got the ground, the sky, and I have my pumpkin. Okay, now I'm going to begin making the polka dots. I'm going to start with the larger polka dots, and I'm going to be putting them to start with in this front section right in the middle. So I'm just drawing some large, empty polka dots or circles. I'm not worrying about coloring them in right now. All right, and then I'm going to do some here. Now because it's hiding behind this front one just a little, that means the dots are hiding a little as well. So it's kind of peeking out behind this section. Same thing over here. And I kind of went a little bigger, and that's okay. No biggie. And then same thing here. And then over here. And maybe just one that's, you can barely see one over here. All right, so now I'm going to do some smaller ones. So going down the side. And since they're smaller, I'm going to put more. Same thing over here. And over here. And over here. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always hit pause. You can rewind and go back and watch something as many times as you feel like you need to. There's no rush. This drawing doesn't take very long, so if you have to go back and watch it a couple more times or pause it, it's really no problem at all. All right, then I'm going to put some dots on the stem. And then over here. And then I'm going to put some on the top of the stem. I'm going to put some really tiny ones, and they kind of go in that same kind of squished oval shape. And then if there's anywhere else I want to add some small dots, I can. All right, maybe here. Just felt like that space needed something. All right, and I think I'm good with my dots. Okay, so now you can color your dots in. You could take it, she did a lot of black polka dots on hers, but she also used color sometimes. So if you wanted to make them a color, you could. If you wanted to take your Sharpie and just make them solid black, you could do that. If you wanted to do a little bit of both, because it is your picture, you're the artist, you can color it the way you want it. I would just be sure, whatever color you choose, I would use markers, because the polka dots are what's so recognizable for her art, and markers are bolder and stand out a little better. So she certainly wasn't timid or shy. Well, she's still alive, so she is not timid or shy when it comes to her art. She's bold and she just puts it out there, and markers are more bold. And again, just because I chose to make my polka dots black with my Sharpie does not mean you have to. You could even, I seriously considered making mine a rainbow and making each row of dots a different color of the rainbow. You could pick a color scheme. You can go with it any way you want. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward and finish coloring my polka dots now. All right, so I have my polka dots colored in. Now I can color my pumpkin. You could color your pumpkin with markers or crayons, either one. I'm going to try using my markers. Since I did my polka dots in Sharpie, it shouldn't be a problem using my marker. You know, sometimes your markers can kind of smear together the colors because they're washable. But if you do Sharpie, you don't have to worry about that. And that's one of the great things about Sharpies. That's part of the reason we use them so much in our art, is because they are permanent. We don't have to worry about them making a mess, basically. Except for, of course, staining things, but that's a whole nother issue. And I am choosing to color my pumpkin a traditional orange pumpkin with a green stem. You do not have to do that. You certainly can if you want to, but you can use any color you want for your pumpkin. And some of those examples I put in my little slideshow. I showed you lots of different colors for her pumpkins. And you could even do each section a different color if you wanted. I love the traditional orange pumpkin, and when I'm making this video today, it is actually September 22nd, so we're getting close to October, and you know, at least I'm always excited when it's starting to feel like fall. Today's that day. You guys are going to be doing this way into October, like the end of October, about a month from now, but this was the day that it rained and it finally felt a little cooler. It wasn't quite so hot outside. You may remember that day, you may not, but it feels really nice outside. It's been raining. There's a hurricane that brought some rain and just kind of perked it right over where we live, which is really nice. All right, so now that you've had your weather report from a month ago, I'm going to fast forward to finish coloring this right now. Okay, so now I finished coloring my pumpkins with my marker, or pumpkin with my marker. So now I'm going to use crayons for the sky and the ground that my pumpkin is on, because remember, the emphasis, or what you want the audience looking at in your picture, is your pumpkin. Oh, there's my timer. The background is just kind of there. The picture's not about your background, it is about the pumpkin. So the crayons are softer, and will help it stand out a little less. So the markers you use on what you want to stand out more and be noticeable, and the crayons you use on what you want to be a little more soft and not quite so noticeable. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward to finish coloring my sky and my ground. Okay, so I finished coloring my grass and my sky with crayons, and I feel like the sky's okay, but I feel like the grass is just a little too blah. So what I'm going to do, this is the green that I used on the grass. I've also got a darker green and a lighter green, so I'm going to layer the colors and go on top of it a little bit. Where it's lighter, I'm going to add this lighter green. You can kind of see a little bit of that yellow tint coming in because it's yellow green. And then I'm going to go with my darker one and go over it just kind of here and there. Again, just to make it a little more interesting and a little less blah. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward and do that now. Okay, and there we go. That is my Kusama pumpkin. And like I said, you can, as long as it's a pumpkin and you have the polka dot pattern in some way, so you are getting inspiration from her, you can change anything you want. You could do more than one pumpkin, do different colors, draw a pumpkin in a traditional style, you know, more just the rounded pumpkin, whatever you want to do, again, as long as it's a Kusama pumpkin. And just as always, be sure if you want it in the virtual art show, you send me a picture, and I can't wait to see how they turn out. Bye guys.